You're allowed, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting of the Roads, Infrastructure, and Public Works Committee for November 4th, 2025 to order. The invocation, Councilor Seaman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. Gracious and Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day, for the opportunity to gather here, for the opportunity to serve the people of the county. Thank you for all that you provide to us. Be with us during this meeting and the rest of our meetings this evening. Give us wisdom, give us thoughtfulness as we debate the items on our agendas. And as always, we ask all these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes as presented of the October 7th, 2025 meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion and minutes are approved. I will move on to number 4, the Greater Greenville Sanitation Annex request for Helen Drive. Do we have any discussion on that from the committee?
Happy to make a motion to approve.
Okay, then a motion to approve and forward to full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Number 5, the sign ordinance amendment. Is there any discussion from the any committee members?
Mr. Chairman?
Mrs. Seaman, please.
Thank you. Could I just add, was there something in particular that triggered this? It seems straightforward to me, and I'm happy to support it, but just wondering if there was something that brought this to our attention, and if is there anything else we need to fix while we're in here?
There are several. I brought the amendment. We have several churches in my area where the roads have moved, and now the churches can't be seen. So they own the property, but it's not adjoining their premise.
Gotcha.
So this would help those churches to get those signs. That's the premise of the whole amendment ordinance.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments?
Motion
Okay.
to approve.
Okay, motion to approve is on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Ayes have it. Motion passes. All right, now we're going to get a fiscal year 26 road infrastructure program update from the assistant administrator.
Good afternoon.
Mrs. Isha, thank you.
I have here with me today the county engineer, Hunter Cromley, and our paving engineer, Seth Kaiser, and they are going to provide you with that update.
Hey, good afternoon. So he just said, I'm Hunter Cromley, the county engineer for engineering and maintenance, and Seth is our paving engineer. We're just going to give you a brief update on the status of our paving program and our capital improvement projects.
Would you, real quick, would you prefer if we held all questions to the end, or do you mind if we interact with you as it's there? Or do you have a preference?
No, throw them at us whenever.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
if anybody
fine.
has a question, just kind of raise your hand, let them know you want to talk.
After we give our update, we are going to present our proposal for the roads list and some other capital improvement projects. So I'm going to turn it over to Seth to discuss the current paving contract.
Hey, good afternoon. I'll jump right into paving. The 2025 62402 paving contract is currently underway. GLDTC held a pre-construction conference last month, but no paving has started. The bulk of the work is expected to take place in 2026, with the contract ending November 2026. The active list can be found on our website. If you go to the engineering page, under annual paving, you scroll down, the list is on there. And you can also see when we complete a road, there'll be a check mark in that table.
Let me get back out of that. There it goes.
Yep.
Thank you, Nicole. All right, so on top of our current contract, paving contract, we've recently completed 12 and have ongoing 12 drainage improvement projects. These range from large culvert repairs to our neighborhood drainage improvement projects. 4 of those projects were our Helene projects. Those included the Dewberry Lane Stream Bank Restoration Project, the Holly Park Lane Embankment Repair Project, and our 2 biggest projects from Helene, which were the Sharon Drive culvert replacement project. You can see here we had a 6-foot metal culvert that the road just completely washed away. The culvert amazingly stayed in place, but it doesn't do you much good without the road there. So We replaced that metal culvert with a concrete box culvert. That culvert's 6 feet by 10 feet. So it's going to provide a lot more capacity than the old culvert. Installed some poured in place concrete wing walls with riprap embankment protection there. Our other big project from Helene was the Chick Springs Road culvert washout. That was also a 6-foot diameter culvert. And you can't see it in this picture, but right after the storm, there was actually a white Chevy Silverado sitting right about there.
Nice.
It magically disappeared before we did our repair, which is an in-progress picture here. We used the modular block wing walls for the first time, and that actually worked out really well and ended up being cheaper than the concrete wing walls and provided a nice aesthetic. That culvert's a 9-foot culvert, so again, a lot more capacity than the 6-foot culvert that was there previously.
Are these expenses covered by FEMA?
Yes, they were initially covered by emergency management, the county's emergency management, and they will be reimbursed by FEMA.
Great, thank you.
Along with the Helene projects, we also have our neighborhood drainage improvement projects program that's funded out of the floodplain management division. Those projects include the Great Glen Drainage Improvement Project, the Shannon Lake Circle Drainage Improvement Project, the Oak Valley Drive drainage repairs, and all those projects were in FY25. And in FY26, so far we've completed Overton Avenue Phase 2 Drainage Improvement Project, the Cannon Circle Drainage Improvement Project, and the Saddle Tree Drainage Improvement Project. Currently we have the Laurel Grove Drainage Improvement Project ongoing. And the last project for the current fiscal year within that program is the Botany Road Drainage Improvement Project, which we already have a design for. We're hoping to put that out for bids later in the fiscal year.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. And so that's it for the current and ongoing capital improvement projects. So I'm going to turn it over to Seth because he's also our map maker extraordinaire to describe the map here.
So this is our county project map, which displays all of our paving and all of our capital improvement projects. And this is available to the public just at our website. It's fully interactive. Anybody can get on here, click on a road, click on a point, see what's going on. And we really strive to keep this as up to date as possible so people know what's going on. And then I'll go ahead and jump right into our proposed 2026 pave list. The next pave list has been fully prepared and evaluated. It contains 115 roads, which comes out to approximately 35 miles of paving and reconstruction. The primary treatment for this list is CMRB, which we've talked about before, is a full reconstruction of the road that will last 25 years, hopefully more. And the average for this list is 32. So we're down into the very poor roads. And if you scroll down here on the website, you'll see the full list sorted by district. And if you have any specific questions about how we evaluate roads, we developed this other website here that explains our whole process. Be happy to go into that at any point.
I have a question. It's not about evaluation, but more coordination. I've said many times that when we do these kinds of paving projects, we need to coordinate with all the utility companies, gas, water, electric, even though it's above line. Was that done or taken into consideration with this first list of projects? Because I know,
Yes.
you know, the first list is kind of, we got to get
Yes,
it done.
we actually, this is, I'm probably saying too much, but we actually send our proposed list to them as soon as we develop it, even before it's approved, with the caveat that, hey, this could change, but we want to give you as much time as possible to see what infrastructure you have out there, because sometimes they look at it and they're like, wait, we're planning a major project here, can you put this on hold, take this off your list and do it next year.
That's
So
what I'm
we
talking about.
communicate with them very early on in the process, and then throughout the process, as things evolve, we are communicating with all the utilities.
So with this list going forward, we shouldn't be expecting one of the utility companies to come back and cut into new pavement unless it's an emergency. or
Unless
something,
it's an
right?
emergency,
Okay,
correct.
thank you.
Just give a quick overview on how you mixed up, the worst roads versus some treatment roads versus horrible
Sure.
roads. So just maybe 2 or 3 minutes so people can get on record and hear how you do it.
Absolutely. So we do a pretty standard process that's used throughout the country. We evaluate all the roads using the pavement condition index metric. And there's a third-party consultant who rides the whole county with a van that's equipped with every kind of sensor you could possibly imagine. And it spits out a rating for each road and each road segment. We use that data, we aggregate it, sort it, and we use that data to determine the pave list. And from there, we ride each road. We get high definition video of each road from both directions so that we've got a record of what that road looked like. And we confirm that that condition is actually accurate because a lot of times the data is not perfect. So we want to make sure we get the best roads or the worst roads rather on the list.
Mr. Chairman. What is the total cost of our current list, and what's the total cost or estimated cost of the proposed list?
Sure. The current list is a little over 16 million, and the proposed list, which we'll show later, is 22 million.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I got one. What's y'all's? How do y'all prioritize? Do y'all prioritize just repair over prevention, or do y'all take a holistic approach? Like, can you elaborate on that for me?
Sure. So right now, the county's policy is worst first. However, we are, which I'll actually talk about next, we're going to do some pavement preservation, a substantial project this upcoming year. So that's preservation. That's trying to keep the good roads good, lasting longer. But a substantial portion is devoted to just fixing the roads that are already way past the point when they can be preserved, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Just to give you some background for the committee members, I met with Heisha about 4 weeks ago, and I directed her to she asked me, she presented that, and I said, I think that's a great idea. Let's push forward, and that should be one of our things. We can't just forget about the existing roads that are good. We really need to help get longevity on those roads. So that was part of the direction we had.
So that's a great segue into the next part, which is that later this month we plan to advertise our first annual pavement preservation project. So the goal of this is to keep the good roads good. I equate it to changing the oil in your car to make that engine last as long as you can. It's a range of treatment types, but in all, it's 21 miles of the county. So people will see that and they'll notice, and you'll see it on the map in just a little bit. And this is just an example of one of those roads that we're treating. And ironically, it's called Good Road, but it is far from it. And this is how we hope this is what it will look like when we're done with our preservation. So this is a fraction of the cost of resurfacing.
And just, if I may, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, what's the material?
So we're doing a couple different treatments. One of them is asphalt rejuvenator, which we did a pilot a few years ago. That goes down clear and just makes the existing pavement last longer. What you're seeing there is a scrub seal, which is asphalt emulsion sprayed on the road with small rocks embedded, and then we cover it with kind of like a seal coat, almost that you'd see in a parking lot.
Cool. Thank you.
Is there any, I know that with paving, you can't pave when it's a certain temperature, things like that. How about this? Is this something we can really, is this to have the same temperature requirements to be put down, or is this something we can do all year?
It's similar, but we can do a lot of the prep work all year. So the full depth patching that we do before we do this on the really bad parts, we can do
Yeah.
anytime.
Okay, so let me ask this for question for you, Heisha. So we got about 34 million for the roads. Where's the other 12 million? Oh, sorry.
It's coming.
Hold, please.
I feel
All right.
like my mom scolded me.
So again, you provide us an excellent segue. So further proposed capital improvement projects. Along with the paving and the preservation, we have a bridge project we'd like to construct, the East Dorchester Boulevard Bridge replacement. This bridge is currently a 75-foot long bridge. It has timber piles. As you can see, they have seen better days.
Holy cow.
This bridge was built in '72, and it's nearing the end of its life.
Axe or a hammer, just showing the.
Yeah, that's a hammer. Just I hear the whispers. That is a hammer. Several of these piles, they're seeing decay, cracks. A lot of these piles are in the stream bed, so you get a bunch of debris and brush. We've actually just hired a consultant to do the design for this bridge. They're proposing a 90-foot single span, so there will be no piles in the creek to create blockages to get hit with debris. So that'll be a much better product than what we have today. We're estimating that to be about $3.5 million. That's fairly conservative, but we want to make sure we're covering our bases. That bridge is currently weight restricted, as you can imagine. And then we have some drainage improvement projects that we'd like to propose. These projects are primarily in older neighborhoods where the drainage systems, when they were designed, they just were not up to today's standards. They are too small. They have too few boxes, catch basins, or upstream of these neighborhoods has just been built out. There's been a lot of development and increase in impervious surface, so there's a lot more runoff coming downstream to these developments. So the first one is the Merrifield Park Drainage Improvement Project. This one's going to positively impact about 23 properties and 5 county roads. And when I say positively impact on all these projects, these properties and roads are currently flooding in moderate to severe rains and significant flooding. We're looking at about $1 million for that project. Next is the Overton Avenue Phase 3. I mentioned Phase 2 that we just completed earlier. This one's a much larger in scope. It's just going to continue what we've currently done downstream, and that's going to positively impact about 17 properties and 3 county roads. We're estimating that at $750,000. The Heritage Hills Drainage Improvement Project, same story, just an old system that is just undersized. And we're looking at 15 properties and 4 county roads that will see improvement there. And then the last neighborhood project is the Oakwood Acres project. And that will see positive impacts for 10 properties and 2 county roads at about $500,000. And I think I forgot to mention Heritage Hills was $650,000. The last drainage project we're proposing is the Arcadia Drive Drainage Improvement Project. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Arcadia Drive. It's in an industrial area, so it sees a lot of heavy traffic. The northern part of the road is in awful shape. If you drive across it, it's like driving across a cobblestone road in Charleston, but it's not supposed to be a cobblestone road. But we can't justify paving it because the drainage situation is so bad. If we repave it, it's going to be back in this condition way sooner than it should be because of just the water that ponds in the road. So we'd like to do a drainage improvement project there so we can get that road adequately paved.
Is the 350 for the paving or for the
No, sir,
mitigation?
that's just for the drainage improvement.
Okay.
And then, so the last 2 projects we're looking at is an increase to the funding for traffic calming, which for Greenville County is essentially speed humps. We have a speed hump contract out for bids right now, and we're projecting those to be at about $4,000 to $5,000 per hump. Currently, the funding for the traffic calming is about $25,000 a year, so that's a pretty significant increase.
Nice.
We could do about 20 to 25 humps with that.
And are we following our own standards, or are we following the state standards for traffic count and speeds and average car speed?
We have our own traffic calming policy.
Yep. Yep. And then the last one we have on here is striping. So currently, our striping need is about 60 to 70 miles. That's what we need to do. 30 of those miles were citizen requests, and the rest are just roads that we know they need to be striped. On a typical 2-lane road with the double yellow center lines and white edges, this proposed funding would allow us to do about 18 miles if we use paint. We could use thermoplastic, which is what the DOT uses. We get about 6 miles out of that. It's a hardier product. It's going to last longer, but it's not really justified on our roads. We don't see the amount of traffic the DOT uses. So we would recommend doing the paint. We get a lot more mileage out of it. The paint still lasts 4 to 5 years versus 5 to 10 for the thermoplastic. So that is the last of what we have to propose. Here's the cost breakdown. We're looking at $22 million for the paving, $1 million for the preservation, $3.5 million for the East Dorchester Boulevard bridge replacement, almost $3.5 million for the road-related drainage improvements, and then $100,000 each for the traffic calming and striping. Now that comes out to just over $30 million. You guys approved about $33 million for road projects. So obviously that doesn't add up. We've considered a 10%-ish contingency for increased construction costs, material or cost overruns, or emergency projects that crop up. And the East Dorchester Bridge is a great example of that. We actually used a little bit of our contingency funds from last fiscal year to get that design rolling, so we can already have that in place moving forward. So that's what we have to propose. Seth, as I said, map maker extraordinaire. This is the map that you guys saw earlier with our current and ongoing projects. And then if you add in what we've proposed, you can see we've got a lot of work going on around the county. The green, that was... Where did I write it down? The green is paving. These smaller orange, that's the preservation. And then the pink are the capital improvement projects.
Is there a legend on the map somewhere that we're not seeing?
Go ahead.
The software didn't let me do that, unfortunately,
Okay.
but I can provide that.
Okay, yeah, maybe just when the public looks this up, I'm gonna get 100 emails on
And
what
you
the
can
colors
click
are.
on,
Yeah,
you can
absolutely. Yeah,
click
that's what I
on
was about
each
to say.
thing. Like if you
Yeah.
click on a
Click on
document,
it.
click on one of them.
Yep. Let's do one of the proposed. So you can click on that one,
Okay,
And it
awesome.
tells you.
and it tells you where it is, what the plan is, and what the status is.
Okay, awesome.
One more thing I want to add about specifically about the bridge project. So most of you who were here in January when we did our other presentation know that DOT is required by law to inspect our bridges every 2 years. And so every time they do their inspections, they send them to us. And if there's anything that needs to be repaired or mitigated, it's our responsibility. So East Dorchester was one that was kind of on their watch list. They knew it was getting bad. So when we got our last inspection, they were like, yeah, you need to get that fixed. And so that's an example of things that come up that we may not have planned to do yet, but we need to bring it to the front.
Are there any state grants or federal grants we could apply for, anything that would help us out with any of this?
For bridges,
Oh, for anything, roads, paving?
sometimes we keep a watch. Anything that we can get to apply, we do. Right now, there's not a lot, but that doesn't mean that couldn't change, in a couple months.
Right.
But we're always watching.
And all these roads and all these bridges and everything we're doing is county infrastructure, correct?
Yes, these are county
No
roads.
state infrastructure. Be very
That's
clear, I
correct.
know that, but I just want to put it
That's
out there
correct.
and be very clear.
This is all
county.
100%
Yeah.
county roads, county
And,
infrastructure.
and just for the committee members' knowledge, I asked he should also develop us a sign that we put at every project we're doing, so people know that we are actively going out there and taking care of the roads
Yeah.
finally.
This presentation is great, really excellent work. Thank you very much.
When was the last time we had good news to present? I mean, this has been awesome. So I really appreciate y'all's hard work on this. We're really moving in the right direction. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So,
Fur Road. Fur Road.
yes, sir.
Just remember.
I got you. Spoke to her today.
Mr. Chairman,
Captain, Mr. Mitchell?
Well, I was going to make a motion that we approve the proposed paving list.
I just had one comment. We're making suggestions up here that may add to this, and
Great.
I want to recognize and make sure that all of our members understand that every time we say something like putting up signs and stuff, that adds to the cost
Sure.
of the
Yes.
project. And if we go overboard or we do something that's going to put too much money on you, please let us know.
We will.
So we won't be expecting something.
We will.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments?
I'll
Oh,
re-
thank-
Sure, I'll restate my motion. I make a motion that we approve the fiscal year 26 proposed paving list as presented.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to approve and forward to full council as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? It passes. Thank you very much. That was awesome, guys. I really appreciate your work. Obviously, it's been a lot of stuff, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Will you also send us a link to that so that we
Yes.
can,
You'll
Put
have
it
it
up.
by the time council meeting starts.
Thank you.
Thank
guys,
you.
You guys are awesome. Okay, moving on. We have number 7, establish car wash facility standards with the ordinance that's on there. I believe Councilor Collins, you came today and wanted to speak on this a little bit, and then we actually have some people from the community here, so I would love to have them. If you, would you like to talk first, or let them talk
I
first?
think, thank you for allowing me to set in, appreciate that. If we could get them to speak first, I think that would be a great thing.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Who here, just put your hand up so I know how many people we got that want to talk. Got 3 of you. Okay, whoever wants to come first, just come on up and give your name and address for the record, and the floor is yours. We'll listen to you for a few minutes.
oh, he's been,
And then if anybody has any questions. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Okay. Let me just start with the whole thing.
Can you just give us your name?
Oh, my name is Peter Hoffman,
Okay, and your address, please.
and the neighbor of this car wash
Okay.
area. And so just giving you a little bit of story about that. 2.5 years ago, I started with that when we moved in our house right across on the borderline to the car wash. We discover a very high noise level, more than 70 decibel, even closer by 80 decibel and higher. So and this was not disclosed when we bought the house. And I also have a neighbor friend who was the same situation. She may give you some information about it. Anyway, then 2.5 years ago, I started to investigate and say, how in the world can somebody live with that kind of noise level 7 days a week, from 7 o'clock it starts with the blower already, till 8 o'clock at night. So 13 hours. And then I was kind of trying to get an idea, is there any law, ordinance, or something like that? So I came to this office here and talked to Regina, whatever, and then I was kind of collecting all the information, how in the world that was allowed to even build there in a residential area. So matter of fact, this property was a residential area, and a couple of years ago, I think you know his ex-colleague Butch Curven, he signed off to get it to what's called a commercial area. So with the commercial area, of course, they put a car wash on it, and then the owner of the car wash, he made a promissory note on that, what he never fulfilled. There is no soundtrack, no nothing, nada. So, and so last year, so that a year went by. Last year, I spent most of the time waiting for getting from Butch Curven and the owner, giving some kind of in or saying, yeah, it makes sense. Also, kind of help the neighborhood and things like that. Result, 0. And fortunately then, let's say Gary Collins took the place from Butch Curven. So I approached him and let him know what the situation is. And it's not bearable any longer. Just think about that. You buy a home, you have this constant noise level. I have a little backyard, I have grandchildren. That's the reason why I'm there. I cannot enjoy my grandchildren. And my colleague, my neighbor, friend, Lisa, 2 years ago, she became a baby daughter, just was crying, they walked out the door in a minute. And I don't know, they even have a higher noise level every day. She cannot use outdoor. And I don't know, in the end, she has a health problem. She went already to the doctors, and it's way out of, let's say, acceptable noise level. In a residential area, it should be only 55 decibel. Check it out. I have a whole bunch of paperwork on that one, and I collected all Freedom of Information Act, all the information, how in the world that was even installed. Okay? So I think right now, I call it baby steps. 2.5 years later, now I'm here and can talk about that, and even we have a discussion that you may set up the ordinance for that, what should have been done 3 years ago. Problem is, even so, if that comes through, hopefully it will, but the owner, he goes with the grandfather thing. He just don't care. We had a personal meeting with him, Butch Curvin and the owner, last year in his restaurant in Simpsonville. He just said, well, I have to talk to my son, he's in Greek, come back in 3 months. Result, 0. So they just ignore us, and the torture is going on. And not only that, the value of the house, as we know, and that's the speech I gave 2.5 years ago, and said, look, if you have that situation, what's the impact? Health, value of the house, and let's say have a decent living there, 0. And then, kind of the value, I don't know who want to buy a house like that. And I remember when people came and they were looking for houses, and they saw me on the street, and they came to me and asked me, hey, do you know anything about this noise? With this noise level, we cannot buy the house. We're not interested in that. And it is how to say that? It's not a nuisance. I call it torture. Okay? So I think I made it clear. Any questions? I'm open for that. But it is really very important that something needs to be done. And I just tell you that. When first time I talked with Butch Curvin, he said I have to go to the police department. So I went with his thing to the police department. They throw me out the door and said, this is not our business. So, and then there was nothing, yeah, you can sue them. Should I spend my retirement money, go to a lawyer and sue him? For what? He just went through the legal system, even so he never fulfilled his promissory note. And that's kind of really vague situation. And again, all the documents, he has it, I have a stack of that, and you just look at the records and you will see the whole story. So something I want to address, and if no further question, maybe you want to talk about that.
Okay, Mr. Mitchell?
Were you there before the car wash?
No.
Okay, so the car wash was already there. and you-
No. Okay, let me correct that.
Okay,
At the time when I bought the house, there was something, but nobody told me the car wash is going to be installed.
well,
Nobody.
what was there when you bought your house?
Property, nothing.
It was vacant land.
That was the
was just
period when they
Oh, you
changed
said
from a
nothing, I
residential
thought you said
area.
there was something, okay.
This was originally a residential area,
Uh-huh.
okay?
And how much time before the car wash got there? You were there and then the car wash was established?
Well,
A year
there was-
later? 2 years later?
no. As soon I moved in, the car wash more or less started, maybe started at the time and made all the noise, and that's why I said, this is strange. It cannot be that way.
Okay,
And-
so you were there and then they were building the car wash while you were building your house or when you moved into
Oh,
the
the
house?
house was built through a builder.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to get a clear picture on the timing of all of this. It's just like chicken and egg, which came first. So you were there and then the car wash came.
Yes.
Okay,
So, I mean, otherwise I would not buy the house.
Right.
If I wouldn't know that, I would say, forget it.
okay,
Okay? No question about it.
okay. Thank you.
Okay? So,
Mr. Bradley?
Hey, got a question, one question.
Yeah.
What kind of promise or what was said from the developer that he didn't
okay,
do?
there is a list, and it's in the document here. If you look in all this kind of approval paperwork and things like that, saying that he's going to build a sound blocking fence. And also originally the idea was basically to have the noise exit going to the Woodruff Road and not to the dusty lane direct in the neighborhood. And he just didn't care. So he just did in the end what he wanted to do, and he creates this noise pollution torture situation.
Were these
And it's
actual
what-
amendments to the zoning? or-
No, this was done after the fact.
Not
It
by-
was sort of, it wasn't something that the county could hold him to, but he did agree to it. After there were complaints.
a verbal agreement, nothing in writing, I mean.
There was something in writing.
Yeah.
But it
Clearly
becomes
not.
a legal kind of issue. It's not.
So a verbal commitment's made and put to paper, but there's no, I guess where the lawyer here is, so we can't, if those concessions were made by the owner, is he not held to those? Or how does that work?
It wasn't made as part of the zoning.
Can we not
If it
enforce
wasn't
those?
made part of the zoning process, I would have to look into the specifics that were agreed upon, just to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, to get on record here. Yeah, if you could do that and then send the whole committee.
Yeah, because I mean, it would
brief on
definitely be
that.
a different story if it was something that we had approved as amendments that were not
Correct.
followed, but this doesn't seem like we have that luxury on that one.
And so the P&D committee didn't make him turn I know exactly the car wash you're talking about. I drive by it every day. But,
If
okay.
I recall correctly, they were required to put up like some vegetative screening. I believe the neighborhood has a fence along their back, and so then there was an attempt made to go out and add additional vegetative screening, and then it was during those conversations that he agreed to do some additional things, but there was no way for the county to hold him responsible, but he went ahead and kind of put something on paper. So
Yes.
we'll make sure that the attorney's office
Okay, we'll take a
has
look.
it and can get it to you
Okay.
guys.
All right.
Okay, just the
want-
car.
Mr. Chair, yeah,
Go ahead.
Mr. Peter, if you can get a copy of that letter, I'm sure you have it with you, and we can supply that to the attorney. And if
Yeah.
Miss Lisa could speak real quick. Yes, sir.
No,
Okay.
that's fine.
Thank you.
On this, we're talking about the Sonic Satz Express car wash.
Yes.
Okay, so that is Five Forks and going
Yes.
south, whatever. And that's the subject of it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna check for this promissory note in my notes here, and then you,
Awesome. Thank you so much for your comment today. Who else would like to speak? Thank you.
Yeah, Miss
Come on
Lisa.
up.
And Mr. Bell.
And just give your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Lisa McDonald. I live on 11 Ashridge Way, directly behind the car wash. So kind of similar story to Peter. My husband and I bought the house, and I'd say like 6-ish months after, we come home from work and all the trees are wiped out. We're trying to figure out, I'm calling the city just like, hey, what's going on? Asking neighbors. Nobody would really tell me anything. I went back to our realtors. They acted like they didn't know anything. Come to find out, another neighbor from our HOA, the head of the HOA, actually informed me that it was a car wash and that they had been petitioning. There was petitions that were out, about 200 signatures just from our neighborhood alone and against it. But those signatures never reached anywhere. She turned them in. We have names of who she turned them into as the president, but they went MIA. Long story short, the owners in fact did know about it, but it was not disclosed to us during the purchasing of our house. Fast forward, you know, I was a teacher then, and my husband works full time. We got pregnant. I came home from the hospital to the car wash opening. So we had about 80 decibels in our backyard of coming home with a newborn. It could not open the windows in the spring. She was born May of 2023. We couldn't go outside. We couldn't, because of her newborn ears, we couldn't be exposed to it. We talked to her pediatrician about it, and we absolutely could not go out without ear protection for her first year. Right now, if she's out for more than a year, or outside for more than an hour, I either have to bring her in or provide her with ear protection for the ongoing sound. It's from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at night. Imagine a 2-year-old just crying at your back door, wanting to go outside and play, and I have to limit that, and it's absolutely torturous. I now work remotely, and I can't open a window. I'll be in meetings, like it's so loud, even inside. So despite even being outside, it's still inside. Even, you know, when you're watching TV, that car wash is louder than the white noise machine for my daughter sleeping. So like, you know, you have that decibel meter. Well, guess what? The car wash that's outside our house is louder than her white noise that's in her nursery. It's been completely torturous for the 2.5 years. We've been fighting. Peter and I have been, I've been here before talking about this. We've been trying to do everything we can to figure this out, hold the owner accountable. We do have that note stating that he would put a wall, and in regards to the trees, they're like, I'm right behind there. There was no trees, there's no fence, there's nothing that's been done. So it's just the car wash right there. It is, I just can't even put it into words. It's absolutely torturous. I would invite anybody to come sit in my backyard for an hour and just see what it does to your ears. Like, even people that come visit, like I used to host, they don't want to come over. They don't want to bring their kids over to play outside because of that, because who would want to listen to that, or even bring my friends' children over to be subjected to the noise level. When you do come in, your ears are ringing. So, like, you know, even sitting outside for just a minute, needing some fresh air at some point, this is my house, this is my life. Like, to not be allowed to be able to go outside peacefully is just like it's not a way to live. So I'm pleading for accountability, something to be done with this, because the whole entire block is full of kids and we are all trapped inside. And it's not like we can do something about it. Like, we were sold under false pretenses and we can't leave. Like, we can't leave our house. Like, we're stuck. We can't sell it. Who's going to buy the house? And now we're just stuck in this torture chamber of a car wash. And it has affected my mental health. Like, it is so bad. Like, I can't express that enough. But so I'm just pleading for something to happen, and something. Or just come and see it if you want to come over and invite anybody.
Does anybody have any questions?
I mean, it's probably, well, and not for you all, but maybe more for staff. I mean, and I'm guessing that we've already exhausted. I mean, there's no other ordinance that we can think about. And also, this is not in the Simpsonville city limits, is it? Or,
No, yeah.
okay. Okay, but definitely county, like not, got it.
That's the note I was talking about.
Thank you, Miss Lisa.
But yeah, but no, there's no.
No, not that we can find.
Yes, thank you so much for coming in today. I appreciate your time.
If
I think
may.
we had one more.
Yeah, Mr. Bell. Yeah, while he's coming up, Mr. Chair, and we understand the business aspect of it. We understand whether he followed all the requirements by county and stuff like that. But it's just, you know, the approval of something like that close to it's cornered in two residential areas. And I understand overregulating, I get it. But it's just a quality of life for 7 houses on one road, 9 houses on the other road. And it's just, it's
Yeah, I'm with you, and I
atrocious.
feel like it's like two problems. We got to figure out how to fix this one, but then we need to figure out how to fix it going forward. The fixing it going forward seems like that will be the easier,
And-
the easier path, but we got to figure out how we fix.
Ms. Seaman, and that's what this ordinance does, because then the whole noise ordinance, which is from 1994, the attorney, Mr. Dean, said that when I tried to redo it all, he said it's going to be more than that. So we're going to try to redo the whole noise ordinance and incorporate the 5 different separate ordinances that would fall under a noise ordinance. So I'm doing that now with Mr. Antley, but that is exactly right. So, if you don't mind, Mr. Chair, Mr.
No,
Bell.
please. I mean, real quick, I live past this, so I travel by this place every day. As a matter of fact, don't yell at me, but my wife takes her car there. I want to blame it on her, not me. But it is, when we come out of there, I mean, those houses are right there, and I really feel for you. And I mean, I don't know how much we can do, and I'm not making any promises, but I guarantee you the staff and us will do, we're here for you. We'll do as much as we can. I mean, it is tough, and by all means, continue.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you today. My name is Jason Bell. I'm at 2 Waterville Way. I'm directly next to Mr. Hoffman. Mr. Hoffman and I originally last year in June met with the owner, one of the owners, at his restaurant with the outgoing councilman, Mr. Craven, I believe his last name was. And the meeting was informative as far as our end goes, and it went well in a sense that we got our information out to the owner about some issues that we were having pertinent to the noise and things of that nature. But it was not perceived well. It didn't go very far, and it was very obvious at the point in this meeting that no one affiliated with this business was interested in working with any of the community members, residents, or anything. That they were grandfathered in and just simply didn't have any need to work with anyone in changing anything for the community. I myself am a business owner. I've owned 3 businesses with multitudes of different areas. My background is law enforcement, military. I'm now in construction and own a construction company. And I'll tell you, the noise that this business generates is loud enough that OSHA regulations, as far as my business or anything else, would qualify for using ear protection, even in the confines of my backyard. And I think last time I looked at OSHA requirements, their obnoxious levels were, I think, 60 decibels, which is considered an in-house vacuum cleaner. So we're at 80 decibels at this fence line of this in the backyard. My residence is directly behind the exit of this car wash, which is roughly 201 feet away. And our decibels are loud enough that we have to raise our voices to speak to someone next to me on my back porch. So it is basically, and I equate this to my experience being on tarmacs with the military in the Marine Corps, it is in essence the same equivalency as standing about 35 feet from an idling jet engine and having this noise radiate all day long until this business closes. And then after hours, we have issues with maintenance. The current ordinance with the noise ordinance, and I think that's 15102, the prohibition line of that, states that there's decibels that can and cannot be associated with residences or other entities regarding these certain hours with these decibels. But the current ordinance doesn't specify anything pertinent to commercial business, licensed businesses within the county. I think I may have that correct. And the problem is that, and I'll give you an example, we have a Lowe's Food across the street that has a gas station, and they have an audible speaker outside with people pulling up to the gas station, and they have music playing. This music goes on 24/7, but I can hear this music in the wintertime at night in my backyard because of how the thin air in the winter and it travels further. So this is a very specific item that needs to be addressed when moving forward. And I spoke to the owner with Mr. Hoffman, and I explained to him, you know, as a business owner, I have an obligation to look after my business, but I also understand as a business owner, I reach out to the community for my business. And without that olive branch to extend to the community, if I'm not doing right by them, then they're not going to do right by me, and I'm going to be out of business, and the other way around. So I think it's good that we establish good rapport and good ethics and workability with our businesses and residents. And it's just very clear that they have no need to do this. And this has been a problem since, I believe, 2018, to answer your question from Mr. Hoffman. My paperwork that I've come across denotes that there was a change of zoning that he put in for back in 2018 that he submitted to the county. But on that zoning submission, it had no definitive, basically, what was going to be there. It asked for what type of business is this, and they left it blank, so there was nothing there. So I don't think anyone at that time, even the county, knew what was proposed or going to be intended for this spot. And it was residential, and it was zoned into commercial, changed into commercial. And I think Mr. Mitchell asked the question earlier, who was there first? My neighborhood is Pine Creek Cottages. We were not there first. However, Sparrows Point was there well before the car wash. So I think it just goes to show that there's some delineation, kind of blurred vision between what we are looking for currently and in the future, as far as when we allow businesses to operate within closed confines of residential neighborhoods, and the division that this can cause between the communities. So I think it's very important that we look specifically at this noise ordinance, and we determine that this should also be allowed for businesses as well, because who do you know within a residential setting is going to have this type of noise? 90% of the time, it's coming from a business, not a residential setting. So I think it's a little interesting that it has not been changed in this amount of time. It's been probably 30, 40 years, and nothing has been done about it. I understand the commitment on the council's end to make changes moving forward and to address these concerns, and I understand these concerns are just not surface level. They go much deeper than that, and they're much more exhaustive in a sense. But we would appreciate any help that the county would lend to us in getting this under control for not only for us, but for future businesses in residential areas.
Thank you very much for your comments, sir. Appreciate it. Any questions? Any of my
No,
colleagues?
Mr. Chair, I think the short term would be in accordance with the letter that was given as a promissory as noted. It's just a 4-foot mitigation sound suppression gate or fence that could go around the vacuums is the biggest noise, because the letter does state that all noise-making equipment would be enclosed in the car wash. I've seen the letter. I've got a copy of the letter. And that's all we're looking for immediately. But I think going forward, any type of quality of life for all with the density of all residential, this stuff needs to be addressed through an ordinance. And thank you for having me.
If I may briefly,
Sure, Ed. Go ahead.
I forgot about this point. So in that initial meeting that I spoke of, I did a little bit of homework, and I contacted a company out of Florida called Custa Block. And they do a lot of work pertaining to this exact specific things with car washes near or adjacent to residential areas. And I sent an email to this gentleman with Acoustic Block, and he responded back with some information. And looking at this, they're lowering decibels from 80 decibels down to 7 to 10 decibels with this Acoustic Block. And I will admit, it is not cheap. But this is what some entities in areas within Florida, municipalities, they mandate this must be put in if you are going to have this type of business within the close confines of neighborhood residential areas. So this stuff works, and there are remedies to this. I just don't think anyone currently with that business is willing to negotiate any remedies to that. So we have discussed that, though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions from my colleagues? I know Mr. Bradley, if I can push on, thank you very much for everybody coming today. Mr. Bradley, did you, what, I guess Mr. Bradley wants to introduce maybe some amendments, but I'm thinking, what is the best way? Should we do some amendments now or pass it on to full council and then get amendments going so we're not taking a whole nother
Well, I would,
meeting?
and Mr. Chairman, if you wouldn't mind, I would love the staff to weigh in. I'd love to hear their opinion on what we have in front of us too, because they might have some ideas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had a couple of questions for the staff, if I may. How to enforce some of this? I don't know how we would do that. Also, I would think we would not want a car wash near a residential area. I don't think 100 foot's enough. I wouldn't, unless they did put up the wall the gentleman was talking about. And also, we had existing business, and they decided they had to change their equipment, and it was one decimeter higher. How could we enforce closing them down or finding them when it's already an existing business? I mean, I just have concerns. I'd like to see something done to help these folks, whatever the county could do. And I would like to see in the future it not happening again, but I think this needs just a little more work, in my opinion.
Yes, agreed. There are some things that staff would want to sit down with Mr. Collins and work on, as far as what you pointed out, enforcement, as well as maybe looking at what do those setbacks need to be, what other things may need to be included, just adding some additional verbiage and making sure it's something that we can all live with.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
I totally agree with your concerns, and I also would agree if it was to be put on hold and let staff have their input and then come back to the committee and then send it out to a council as a whole. But I just think something of quality of life needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Thank you.
In the meantime, we will pull that information for you guys from the original rezoning to see what the conditions were. And then I know we did have sort of a treasure trove of email exchanges about the agreements that were made after the fact.
And I would also like to see the initial rezoning request and
Sure.
where that went from his application, from the business's application, all the way through to approval of the rezoning, and any
with the BZA as well.
Variances, excuse me, any variances that were done along the way, or what, any special provisions were allowed in there. If you could do that whole package, please. Like, I want to see the whole package from start to end. And this is a huge quality of life issue.
I'm
You
also
see-
wondering too, do we need to, I mean, car washes and like, and almost any business, I just feel like I want to make sure we're not selling ourselves short. If we're going to do it, we should do it. But I also agree, Mr. Bradley, with you, like thinking about the transition from commercial to residential and vice versa was never meant to be heavy use. It was meant to be a dry cleaner or a dentist office or a nail salon, not this.
Are we having a meeting on the 18th? Are we having council
If
meetings?
we have items that need to come forward. we
Well, I mean,
will.
is the council meeting on the 18th?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Pretty
then what,
short,
what I
yes,
like to do is,
pretty short.
what I want to prevent happening, I see a lot of times, is we kind of hold things and they kind of go into oblivion. I'd like to make sure that possibly, if it's not too taxable for you guys, to have this information to us by the 14th.
Yeah.
And then
Not a problem.
we'll readdress this on the 18th. I'd like to put it on the agenda for the 18th. Is there any other suggestions or
I think that
issues with that from anybody on the committee?
We need to make a motion to put it on hold.
Well, motion to hold, right,
Yeah.
until that.
May
We'll make a
may I
motion to
make
hold.
just one comment
Yes,
here?
Mr. Peter, go ahead, please.
Please. At the time when there was this public hearing, 2018, Christine, the HOA president from the neighborhood, she was collecting about 120 votes against it. And she gave the whole package in the library to a person, I think Lisa knows the name, I forgot it, what is working here. And these 120, this paper disappeared. You may
Okay.
want to investigate that, what was going on.
Thank you, we'll look into that.
Okay?
Absolutely,
Because
thank
that is
you.
also something in your planning system, something was falling through the cracks. Just-
Okay, we'll take a look. I'm sure we keep records of everything, so like I said, I ask staff to, and please, staff, if you could provide that to everybody on the committee.
Yep.
Would be great.
Absolutely.
Okay, any other comments on this from anybody? Oh, you want to hear from the
We need to make-
staff?
We need to make a motion.
No, I feel like
You're
I'm,
good?
yeah, we're good.
You guys good?
So do we need to make a motion, put this on hold for
Mhm.
and try to have it by the 14th?
Yeah, and then we'll discuss, we'll make sure it's on the 18th agenda, please.
I'll make
Ms.
that motion.
Campbell.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to hold this until the next scheduled meeting on the 18th. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll hold that and we'll have that. We'll see it. We'll readdress this on the 18th with amendments. So if everybody could be prepared to have those amendments ready to go, that would be awesome. All right, any other business, any other comments from any of my colleagues?
Move
From
to
the staff? Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
I'm
We're adjourned. Have a great night.